So here we have all our ingredients for our apple and cinnamon tray bake. We've got 2 cooking apples here, which will make up about 500 grams of cooking apple. We've got 300 grams of self-raising flour here. We've got 150 grams of brown sugar. It could be demerara sugar or any kind of sugar. We've got 4 eggs. And we've got some butter, which I'm going to melt in a bowl in the microwave in a bowl. But this is, you can actually measure out the butter, 200 grams by the elements of 25 grams along the side of the butter. So you can work it out like that. You need 8 25s to get 200 there. We've also got some vanilla essence. We've got half a lemon. We've got some baking powder and we've got some cinnamon. And that's what we need to make our tray bake. I also want to show you now the way I get the tray ready for the oven. So here is a baking tray. You can use any kind of baking tray, but it needs to be deep enough for a tray bake, for a sort of cake type mixture. And I've got some paper here, that lining paper. And all I do to make it fit in the tray is to cut each corner. So I cut into each corner like that, at my best guess, and then I pop that into my tray. Now sometimes these little edges flop about, so I can use a bit of the butter, a bit like glue, the edges together. So this is the leftover butter that's in my butter paper. And it's literally like glue. It's really good the way it works. That's my tip. And you can also make the whole thing stick down with butter if you need to, but otherwise it should be okay like that. So we'll put that aside and we'll fill that with our mixture shortly. Next we're going to core and slice our apples, and we're going to need our lemon juice for that. But let's get slicing these. You can use a peeler or you can use a knife, it's entirely up to you. And take all the skin off these. Right, so this is where we're going to be slicing our apples, and I'm getting rid of the core first. Definitely need that lemon juice in a minute. And cutting out the core and any other little bits of the core, because the core has bits in it we don't want, and pips contain a very small amount of cyanide, only very small though. Okay, so then what we're doing with this apple, using our fingernails to keep them safe, but also to measure out how far we're chopping, and then we're going to chop our apple into nice slices and pop them in a bowl. So now we've got all our apples sliced and in our bowl, in a separate bowl, and we're going to add the lemon juice. If you've got a juicer you can use that. Be careful if you see any pips, got to get rid of those. Just squeeze our lemon juice on there and better give that a bit of a mixture. That will stop our apple going brown. Let's give that a mix. Oops. That's all covered. we can put that on one side. Okay, so now we're going to put our cake mixture together. So this is our 300 grams of flour, which we're going to add the 150 grams of sugar. We're also going to add, I'm going to do the dry ingredients first. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1 teaspoon, yeah, we can go on to the wet ingredients now. That's 1 teaspoon, well, let's mix that together first. Cinnamon smells great. Okay. Then we're going to add our 4 eggs and our butter. So we've got our 200 grams of butter here, which I've melted in a bowl in the microwave. That's going in there. As is our teaspoon of vanilla extract. That's going to give it some nice flavour. And the 4 eggs. And there we go. Let's just mix that together, combine all the wet and the dry ingredients. We should get quite a sticky cake mixture here. Yeah, that's perfect. I used to watch my grandmother making cakes for the hospital, and this is what she did all day. There we go. Right, so that looks pretty good. Now what we need to do is put this into our baking tray. Our oven needs to be on at 180 degrees Fahrenheit. You can do that at the beginning before you start the recipe, or you can put it on part way through. Here's our baking tray, and we're going to add about half of this mixture into the bottom. It is quite thick, but that's not bad. And you might need a spatula to spread this out. I'm going to use a spoon because it's what I've got available. Spread that out. And we're going to add our apple to this. And put it in a nice uniform way through our cake. Got in little bits, take them off. I'm going to save some pieces that look more the same for the top so that it looks pretty. Just get this through the cake as much as you can. Doesn't have to be too uniform in the middle. And then we're going to put the rest of our mixture on the top. Again, this is quite thick, and I think it's to do with the type of flour that I'm using here. And hopefully, if you use regular self-raising flour, it will be quite so thick. But don't be tempted to add milk, otherwise that can make the mixture really gooey inside the cake. I made that mistake last time. And now we're putting the rest of our apple on the top, and this will be visible, so if you want to make it look pretty, you can. And then this is going to go in the oven for 40 to 45 minutes on that 180 degrees Fahrenheit. If you've got any apple left over, you can always eat that or pop it in a crumble. Quite a bit of apple here, but that will get eaten, or I can stew that in a pan on the side and everyone will have that for breakfast, or have it with the apple tray bake. So that's now going in the oven for 45 minutes. Okay, and so here we have our apple cinnamon tray bake out of the oven. It's cooled down a little bit, that's why I can touch the glass, otherwise I would need my oven gloves. And all we need to do is take this out and let it cool, and then we can try it. Hopefully that will come out in one piece. And there we go. Give that a few seconds. So here we have the final product of the cinnamon cake, and I'm going to cut into it. It's not quite cool enough, but there are a few people here waiting to try cake who cannot wait for it to cool. What do you think?
Still really warm. That is amazing.
Excellent.
Hold on. Want a bit of apple?
That's not going to last long in our house, is it?
No. Actually, you're not going to like this.
Okay. Brilliant.
Charlie's not going to like it.
Brilliant. Okay, so that's cinnamon tray bake, and hope you enjoy it, and see you next time.